Get your reactions ready. The live portion of the show will begin in just a moment. Today is August 14th, and the Yankees were taking on the Braves in Atlanta, and it went about as you'd expect.
Oh, the hit parade continues.
My recap and your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Oh, somebody kill me, please!
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Well, they say you can't predict baseball, Susan, but honestly, sometimes you can predict baseball. You didn't have to be Edgar Casey to see this one coming. Braves all over the Yankees tonight, 11-3. Braves hit more line drives in the third inning than the Yankees have hit all season long. The other day I watched The Big Lebowski for the first time in about 15 years. You know, they used to call me Lebowski in high school because on the high school baseball team, you know, you call everybody by your last name. And nobody could say Lewandowski, so they would say, hey, Lebowski. But I hardly ever watched the movie. I saw it a couple of times when I was younger, but I didn't appreciate it. I watched it for probably the first time in 15 years the other day. And there's a quote from Sam Elliott that I love. He says in his great southern drawl, sometimes you get the bar, and sometimes the bar gets you. Well, the Yankees got the bar today. If you read the captions, bar is Sam Elliott's cowboy drawl way of saying bear. And that's exactly what the Braves are. They are a force of nature right now. They are the biggest, baddest grizzly bear in the forest right now. A dynasty in the making. Dustin Klopper says it's not about losing against the best team in baseball. It's about losing and nothing is going to change. I wouldn't be angry about losing if they would let the kids play. Embarrassing. Gotta say I agree. Toughest part tonight for me is watching Matt Olson play for the Braves because the Yankees could have had him and he would have put up some insane numbers with the Yankees. And he's putting up some insane numbers with the Braves. But imagine him getting fastballs in front of Aaron Judge. It would have been nuts. Junior Caroma says, yo, the Braves are legit. When you hear championship caliber operation, that's what you should think of. That Braves team. That is a championship caliber team. You know, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and tonight's game was about as suspenseful as a Mike Tyson fight from the late 80s. There was no question what the ending was going to be. It was just about when. The only question was how many rounds would the guy go before he was on the canvas. This game was that kind of a mismatch. And the Yankees landed a couple of nice jabs early, but by the third round, they were spitting out what was left of their teeth into a bucket. IKF led off the game with an opposite field single. Aaron Judge followed up with an almost instant replay-like single to the same spot. Yankees loaded the bases, but despite that, they were able to score a run and take a 1-0 lead on a Harrison Bader ground out. And if you're looking for ups, positives, that's about it.
From there on out, things just got worse.
If you thought it was going to last very long against this team, you haven't watched much of the Braves. They immediately tied it up on an opposite field home run by Riley. Yankees got another run in the second. Oswaldo Cabrera beat out an infield single. Got picked off of first base, but somehow beat the throw to second. IKF followed up with a line drive to right field to score a run, but got thrown out trying to turn it into a double. You know, there are some times that we've been thrown out on the bases that I get pissed off. That's not really one of them. That was a hustle play. He's trying to get into scoring position against a good team. Didn't work out. It wasn't really a bonehead play. It was just, just trying to take a risk, and it didn't work out. The Braves, though, are relentless. They got a 2-out, 2-run single from Nicky Lopez to take the lead in the bottom half. And that swing by Nicky Lopez was the type of swing that you almost never see from the Yankees. Just trying to get the runs in, not trying to hit a home run, just slapping the ball. Other than IKF, nobody on the Yankees roster has the talent to do that, really. Everybody's trying to crush it. Braves got another run on a single by Michael Harris to make it 4-2. They were all over Clark Schmidt in the third inning. Before you knew it, the game was a blowout. Line drive after line drive after line drive. Schmidt was done after 2 1/3 innings. He gave up 9 hits and 8 runs. He faced 18 hitters, and 9 of them got hits. Look, he's been pitching well for a while, but these are not the White Sox or the Royals or the Rockies or the Cubs, teams he's beaten. You know, as they say in one of my other favorite movies, The Town, this was the not effing around crew. Yankees lose again.
I'm a loser.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
William M. says this is the worst Yankee year I can remember. It's not looking good, and, you know, we're in danger of leaving town and headed back to New York under 500. Let's play some voicemails. We got some voicemails tonight.
What's up, Derek? Had to leave this voicemail. Obviously, all of our hearts have been ripped out that we're hoping the Yankees could do something this season in general. Every day now, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And we're finding new cliffs to jump off of and lows to reach every day. But I just wanted to say this and get your reaction, honestly, is it seems to me that it's quite clear that Boone is losing the locker room. If not, it's been lost at this point. The team has no more heart. They're not even trying anymore. I'm hoping Hal can sit back and do an evaluation of what he just witnessed here at the end of this year and the complete collapse of this 2023 Yankee team.
You know, I say a lot of times that Hal doesn't care, but I don't think that's really 100% true. It's a lot of times just frustration on my part. I think he does care. I don't think he wants to waste his money. I think that's what he cares most about. I don't think he likes looking stupid saying, not championship, championships, plural. And now most of that team is gone. I know he doesn't want to be in last place. Do I think he'll clean house this winter? I do not. Do I think there will be some strategic moves made? I do. But they're not going to have instantaneous success. I do think that Boone might end up being the sacrificial lamb because, as you said, this team looks like they've completely given up here on August 14th. You wondered how they would respond after what appeared to be that nail-in-the-coffin loss yesterday. Would they rise from their catacombs and, you know, do the Thriller dance and come back and go on a run, or would they stay dead and rot inside a corpse's shell? That's exactly what happened. They stayed dead. Like what we do in the shadows. Stay dead, stay dead. However the song goes. The very real possibility exists that the Yankees are going to go back to New York, an under 500 baseball team. They are now, after tonight, 60-59. You lose the next two, you're 60-61. Hardly a great job. Chris Kylath says, what do you think of the idea of Joe Espada as the next Yankees manager? It's interesting. We got a call about Yankees managers. I don't know much about Espada. I don't know him personally. I don't really see him give any interviews. It's not my job to pick the next manager. And I can only have an opinion on the people that I know. I've said that I like Joe Madden. We had this call from Tony. He disagrees.
Hi, Derek. This is Tony from Connecticut. Yeah, I like most of your ideas, but I'm watching a replay of the recap. The Yankees blew the game against the Marlins. Joe Madden is not the answer. You'll get flower power in the dugout. That's all we need for the Yankees. You need somebody that's tough. My choice would be Don Mattingly or Jorge Posada. I know Jorge doesn't have any experience, but I think he's a winner, and he's a tough. He'll hold guys accountable.
I like that. So I like the idea of Mattingly as manager. I've said before he might be right guy, right place, right time. It's not a prerequisite, obviously, for the Yankees to hire a manager who's won before because they hired Boone and he'd never even managed before. So I think they would bring in Mattingly. Apparently they considered him for the bench coach role. I like the idea of Mattingly as manager and Jorge Posada as a bench coach. Multiple reasons I like Posada. As you said, he's tough. He was one of the guys who kept people in line in the Dynasty era teams. He was a great Yankee switch hitter, so he could help guys out as like almost a second hitting coach from, both sides of the plate. He understands hitting from both sides of the plate. This guy who hit .338 one year as a switch hitter. That is not easy to do.
Hey, Derek. This is Landon from Mississippi, man. Love your content. Love everything you do, especially with this season. I can't even imagine doing this for a living, so I appreciate you staying strong and just creating great content.
Don't know
for
about
us.
strong, brother.
I've actually had a pretty great evening with my family, with my daughter and my wife, because I didn't watch the game. But, of course, I'm a complete psychopath. I've been keeping up with my phone every pitch. This is something we've been looking towards for ever since about 2017, and we all saw it coming, except for Brian Cashman, because he continued to do whatever he wanted, and righties. A 40-year-old third baseman with a former MVP. Oh, yes, it's terrible, and this is a disgrace and the worst season I've seen in a very long time. And I lived through the 2014, 2016 seasons.
Yeah, that was, look, I have no problem with the righties tonight because you're facing a left-handed hitter, but it's pretty well established that the Yankees need some better lefties in there. And you saw Olsen tonight. They were talking about Freeman all night. Both guys the Yankees could have had. And first base for the Yankees, having a big left-handed hitter is kind of like, how they built all those championships. It's one of the, not the only reason, but it's definitely a contributor. Tino and Lou Gehrig, and it just goes on and on. OMG Nick says, well, Cashman said this is a championship team, so if we lose it, we're championship caliber roster. If we lose this year, it's his fault. Look, you're not wrong. I think Cashman is surprised by how poorly this team has done. I think you'll get a lot of blame on the injuries, but they continue to rely on old and often injured players. DJ LeMahieu, there was no reason to give him a 6-year contract. He wanted a 4-year contract. They gave him an extra 2 years because they wanted to pay him $15 million a year instead of $20. And now you got him signed for a couple of more years. There was no reason to trade for Giancarlo Stanton. None. Zero. Was I excited the day it happened? Absolutely. Was I saying, oh my God, Judge and Stanton are going to hit 100-plus home runs? Absolutely. Like every other Yankee fan, I was saying that. But in that dark little corner that I don't like to go to as a fan and that every fan has where you kind of know that like, oh, this might not be a great contract. It was, I was feeling it. I was like, oh man, in 4 or 5 years, he's going to suck. But the Yankees were gambling that they would get elite level performance over the first few years, but because of all the injuries, they didn't get that. So now you're stuck with this lumbering guy who can't run, who can't hit a slider still, and you can't move him. I talked a little bit last night about moving him. I don't think it can be done. That was more like, delirious from all the losses living in fantasy land. They're going to have to eat some money, and that's something that Hal Steinbrenner doesn't like to do. So you really got two choices. Stay in the basement and hope these guys can stay healthy and get better, which is probably what the Yankees are going to do, or eat some money, try and get better in a hurry. Dustin says, Yankees season in a nutshell. Sevy throws a no-hitter just to get our hopes up. Yankees will lose 2-13. Severino's not throwing. Oh, in game 3. Severino's not throwing a no-hitter. Not against this team. Severino, I think it was Lori C. maybe. Somebody commented earlier. No, it was Emily Nyman who said Severino's line on Wednesday is going to be a third of an innings pitched and 15 earned runs. And I think that's pretty accurate.
First, last, Derek, call up the kids, man. Call up the kids, all of them.
First of all, I agree with you. Call up the kids. I think it'll be a couple of days now, about 5 days until you get that service time thing. At this point, you're not going to save your season with kids, so why not just wait the 5 days? So that's what the Yankees are going to do. I'm not saying I would necessarily do it. I would have called up the kids a month and a half ago. But second of all, you said first last instead of first time, long time. So please call in again because I 100% agree.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Michael Rubio says, I hate seeing the boys smiling and joking on the bench. A real manager would cut that out. Look, it's frustrating to see guys having a good time when they're making us miserable, right? Misery loves company. We want them to be miserable with us. But in reality, these guys are making a lot of money to play a kid's game, and they lose. They've already lost 60 times this year, roughly. So you're used to it by now. So it doesn't put a lot of them in a bad mood. I don't see Judge joking around. There's a few winners on this team. Doug Rao says the Yankees will have to do to Stanton what the Mets did to Bobby Bonilla. Give him deferred money until he's 80. He already runs like he's 80. I'm being a little harsh. He runs like he's 70. So tonight's episode is brought to you by Game Time, the fastest growing ticket app in the world. Download the Game Time app to your phone or other smart device, or visit gametime.co to get last-minute tickets on all your favorite types of events, baseball, other sports, concerts, theater, comedy, you name it, you can find it on Game Time. Use the code NYY Recaps for $20 off your first purchase. Game Time, lowest price on last-minute tickets, guaranteed. I vouch for them 100%. I've used them a few times myself. They are great. Williams also agrees that he hates seeing them make jokes in the dugout when they're in last place. Like I said, we want them to feel as bad as we do, but that's just not realistic. You know? They're looking at it as a bad day at work. Rosie says Judge was laughing. I didn't see that. But I will take your word for it. I don't want them laughing and joking around when they're getting beat 11-3. Getting beat like a redheaded stepchild. Chris says, have a feeling Sevy's going to throw a good game tomorrow. Isn't he pitching on Wednesday? No, he's pitching tomorrow. I thought he was pitching on... Oh, man, that's like having your execution moved up a day. I thought he was pitching Wednesday. Lori C. says, it isn't easy to do what you do every night with this team. So it's honestly become more of a stand-up comedy routine than anything. You know? How can I write different jokes about this team every night? When they're playing well, it's fun. Recount the action, play some fun sound effects, it's easy. But when they're getting their ass kicked every night, you know, find something new to say about it every night when it's the same type of game, that's difficult.
Game over, man. It's game over.
William says, I have a feeling Sevy's going to give up 14 in the first inning tomorrow. Louis says, do you think the season is done already? I do. I'm already working on the postmortem.
You gotta go.
I want to give a shout out to Frankie Baseball. Frankie Baseball is my highlight guy. He does the highlights for the first 7 innings, and then I pick it up from there. It just allows me to focus on, you know, taking notes, watching the game, and, you know, not having to miss something because I'm cutting something. And he's had to cut a lot of losses, a lot of ugly games. He created for me what's called the torture reel, which is just a highlight reel of all the bad stuff that happens. And every once in a while after a bad game, I'll say to Frankie, update the torture reel. So I have a feeling down the stretch we're going to be seeing that more and more as we do more group therapy sessions. Thanks to everybody who called in. And as Lori says, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. And just a heads up, if the Yankees are going to miss all of October, which it sounds like they will, it's a month of my income, baby. So I need you guys to support the store, NYYRecaps.shop. I'm wearing one of the new hats tonight. This is a new Aaron Judge hat. It's him robbing a home run over the wall. It's awesome. I got a few different styles, few different logos. We got some mugs. We got all sorts of stuff, man. So check it out. And tomorrow, we will be back to recap another Yankees loss. I'll see you next time.
Ball game over.
Most impressive.